We're going to take a few minutes and talk about the two models of HOVA-beta incubators that we are going to use in our embryology program. We have two models. We have mostly the model 1586, which I'll explain the components in just a minute. And we also have a second model that's a bit newer, a model 1588. So I'm going to take the next few minutes and go over the components of each of these models. First is the HOVA-beta model 1586. So we have several components that make up the incubator. The first component is the top styrofoam cover, and it also has several components of importance. It has an adjustable thermometer that consists of an adjustable screw, a wing nut, and a wafer that you're going to have to put together. And then once it's together, you can use that to adjust your temperature by rotating counterclockwise to increase the temperature or clockwise to decrease the temperature. And how you will monitor the temperature is with an individual thermometer that we have supplied in your box that you'll lay on top of your eggs once you set your eggs. Also, we have the bottom component, and then we also have a plastic liner that has individual troughs, and in a few minutes we'll talk about which troughs you'll add water to adjust the humidity for setting your eggs versus hatching. And then on top of the plastic liner, you're going to put a wire floor, and this is what you'll actually lay your eggs on. The only other component for this model is the power source, and I also want to make mention that we are providing you with a laminated document that basically goes over everything that we've discussed in this video pertaining to setup and hatching your eggs. This is the HOVA-beta model 1588, which is a newer version than the model 1586, and we do have less of these, but we have a handful. This model is a bit more simplified because it's all digital, but to go through the components again, just like we did for the previous model, we have the top component. It does not have an adjustable thermometer like the other one because it has a digital control that does both temperature and humidity. So all you have to do is hit the button up or down to adjust for temperature and humidity. So no need for putting together the individual thermometer, nor will you have the need for a thermometer to lay on top of your eggs. Then we have the bottom styrofoam tray. And again, just like the other model, we have the plastic liner with individual troughs, but these troughs are slightly different. So when we talk about humidity for this particular model, I will specify how which troughs you will fill, and then unlike the other one, instead of having a wire floor, it has a plastic floor that you're going to lay your eggs directly on. And then of course we have the power supply, and then just like the other one, we have supplied you with a laminated form of the model number with all the pertinent information that we have discussed on this video. This is the plastic liner for the model 1586 incubator. You're going to set this in the bottom half of the incubator, and when you go to set your eggs, you're going to fill only this center trough, okay? And then as you get closer to hatching, usually the last 2 to 3 days, then you're going to fill all 3 troughs in the center. And then you'll have to check that about twice a week, and if the water gets low, you'll have to add that. But additional information will be provided in the training with the teachers on how to adjust for humidity. This is the plastic liner for model 1588 incubator. It's slightly different from the previous model in that it has 4 main troughs, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, plus it has a center trough. When you go to set your eggs with this incubator, you're going to only fill trough number 1. And then as you get close to the eggs hatching, usually the last 2 to 3 days, you're then going to fill trough 1 and trough 2 on the outside only. Again, check the water levels at about twice a week, and if you have to add more, of course add more and adjust accordingly. You'll be able to pick up your incubators a couple days in advance of setting your eggs. And the reason we do this is that you will want to set up and prep your incubator in advance of laying your eggs in the tray. So you'll want to bring your incubator up to the optimal temperature, which is roughly 100 degrees, give or take a few on either side, but it's close to 100 degrees. And you'll want to do that and give it at least a half a day, if not 24 hours in advance, the setup. And then you'll want to monitor the temperature with this thermometer by laying it in the tray and then making adjustments accordingly. Then once your temperature is stabilized for at least a half a day or 24 hours, you'll go ahead and set your eggs. So when you're ready to set your eggs, what you'll want to do is either with a Sharpie or a pencil, very gently put an O on one side and an X on the other side. This will be helpful when you rotate your eggs 2 or 3 times a day. Then we'll go ahead and set our eggs on the wire or plastic floor, just as it's illustrated here. And then you will set your thermometer on top of your eggs, to help you continually monitor the temperature. You'll want to rotate your eggs at least twice, if not 3 times a day. So again, you have an O on one side and an X on the other. So if they're all on one side, this is to help you keep track of how many times you have rotated. So if these are on the O side, so I'm just going to flip them on the X side and lay them flat, and that way you know that they have been rotated at least once. One last thing in regards to rotating your eggs, these are quail eggs, so they take roughly 23 days to hatch, give or take 2 or 3 days on either side. But as you get close to 23 days, at least the last 2 to 3 days, you're not going to rotate the eggs at all as they get closer to hatching.